There's something about Valentine's Day that quietly amplifies whatever season of love we're in. So if you're in a long-term relationship, it might feel more tender, or maybe you'll feel more distance. If you're single, you might feel more hope or maybe more exhaustion. If you're in a new relationship, it might feel even more intoxicating, more electric. If you're questioning your relationship, that quiet hum just gets a little bit louder, questioning, is this it? And if you've loved and lost through divorce or death, there may be more skepticism, more guardedness, maybe even a little more closing of the heart, right? So, wherever you are in your relationship journey, I want to give you a new lens to look at your relationship through. Because when you understand this, what I'm going to share with you here, your perspective of your relationship will shift. And when you see something in a new way, that thing changes to reflect the way that you see it. Okay. Your outer world is always a reflection of your inner world because your life is created from the inside out. Okay. This isn't woo woo, it's universal law, right? It's the natural way your life is created. Okay. What you believe creates how you feel, and how you feel drives your actions and creates your attraction. And your actions and your attractions create the results in your life. And the result that we're talking about here is your relationship. Okay. Now, what you believe and how you feel, that's internal. Okay. That's between you and you. Okay. It's an inside job. It's your relationship with yourself. Okay. So the inner relationship you have with yourself creates your outer relationships. Okay. And this is not in a blame kind of way. This is in an enlightenment and empowerment kind of way. Okay. Because what I see, and listen, like for over a decade, I was solely a relationship coach. Okay. Now I've expanded my work into mindset and manifestation and nervous system regulation, and coherence of all of those is incredibly powerful. But what I see in relationships is that they're externally focused. Okay. They did this, they said that. And we're trying to fix or change the relationship from the outside so that we can feel better on the inside. Okay. That's futile. That's powerless. That is not how it works. Okay. How you feel is an inside job. Okay. It is the relationship you have with yourself. So when you start to see your love relationship through the relationship that you have with yourself, this is when change happens. Okay. This means that the relationship you have with yourself is the most important relationship in your life. You and you, baby. Okay. And I'm not just talking in a fluffy, light a candle and take a bath kind of way, although I am 1000% down for that because I absolutely love that. But what I mean today is, do you listen to yourself, right? Do you trust yourself? Do you abandon yourself? Do you even know what that means, right? Do you silence yourself to keep the peace? Okay, that's one of the ways we abandon ourselves. Do you override your own intuition, right? Because you don't want to seem like you're too much, right? That's another way we abandon ourselves. I'd like to give you a belief as I'm thinking about this. I want to give you a belief shift that really goes against the conditioning that causes us to abandon ourselves. Okay. And it's this. All right. Self-love is not indulgent. Okay. Self-love is not selfish. Self-love is not something that you do after everyone else and everything else has been looked after. Okay. Self-love is the prerequisite. It is the pathway. It is the standard setter for every other relationship you have, especially your love relationship. Okay. The relationship we have with ourselves teaches people how to treat us, how to love us. Okay. If we're not loving ourselves, we actually are not available for others to love us. Did you know that? Yeah. So we don't recognize it. We don't trust it. We don't feel worthy of it. So no matter how much someone else tries to love us, it will never feel like enough. It will never feel real because we're not able to receive it because we don't believe it. Because subconsciously, we're thinking, I don't love myself, so how can anyone else love me? Okay? The relationship you have with yourself creates the relationships in your life. So a woman who loves herself deeply, she doesn't beg to be chosen. She chooses, right? She doesn't twist herself to be smaller and more palatable, right? She expands who she is, and who she is attracts, right? She doesn't stay quiet to avoid rocking the boat. She honors her own truth, right? That's how that relationship gets to be authentic. And here's the part that most women, we're just not taught, right? And it's this, that nothing is more attractive in a long-term marriage, in dating, in new love, in second relationships and second love than a woman who is in love with herself. Okay? Because when you love yourself, you don't attach from fear, you don't stay out of scarcity, you don't perform for validation, you don't tolerate what diminishes you. And if you're single, self-love is not something you practice while you wait. Okay? It's what prepares you to recognize what's aligned for you, right? If you're married, but it feels stale, self-love doesn't threaten your relationship. It actually revitalizes you inside of the relationship. Okay? If you're questioning your relationship, self-love gives you clarity, not panic. Okay? And if you're widowed or divorced or skeptical, self-love gently reopens the part of you that closed for protection, right? Self-love gives you stability without forcing you into anything before you're ready, right? Because the truth is, the relationship that you secretly want, the one that feels steady, nourishing, passionate, respectful, alive, is created from the relationship you have with yourself. You do not attract what you want, okay? You attract who you are, and who you are is the relationship you have with yourself. You attract the relationship you have with yourself. You attract what feels familiar. And if self-sacrifice or self-doubt and self-abandonment feels familiar, that will quietly shape your relationship, right? That will be what you attract. But when safety, self-trust, and self-devotion feel familiar, now that's when everything changes, right? So this Valentine's Day, what if the love story you tend to first is the one you have with yourself? Okay. Not as a consolation prize, not as a backup plan, but as the foundation. Because when a woman falls in love with herself, she doesn't just change her relationships, she changes what she will accept. She changes what she believes is possible for her. She changes the energy she walks into a room with. And that changes everything. Okay. This is the work we do inside the Magnificent Circle. We build the relationship you have with yourself. We strengthen your self trust, not through theory, through lived embodiment. Okay. Imagine looking back 1 year from now and realizing, wow, this was the year I fell in love with myself and everything changed. Okay. If you're saying, yes, that's what I want, come join us inside the Magnificent Circle and let this be the year you become your own soft place to land. All right. Everybody, have a beautiful Valentine's Day.